Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, let's start off with a little bit insert that we played a little bit earlier for you, but there was some really interesting dynamics. What is your language dynamics? Is your mother tongue still just that, or has it become irrelevant? What language do you use to address your children? Is global citizenship more important than your own heritage? Is this country too diverse to keep up with all our vernacular languages? Earlier on, we played an insert that looks at these issues and posed a number of questions, and some of those questions we'll throw to our panelists. Joining us live from three of our studios, or I should say two of our studios this morning, to try and answer some of those questions is a panel of guests who are at the forefront of the fight to preserve our languages and have dedicated their lives and careers to their passion for languages and education. In our remote studios, in Polokwane, Limpopo studio, we are joined by author, poet and art movement leader, Vonani Bila. In our Mahikeng Northwest studio, we are joined by writer, poet and cultural activist Keabetswe Modimoeng. Here in Johannesburg, we are joined by the DJ of communication in the National Department of Basic Education, Mr Elijah Mhlanga, and the CEO of Pan-South African Language Board, Dr. Rakwena Mpho, Monareng. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. Let's start here in studio maybe, and for the benefit of our viewers at home, just maybe give them a sense of what you report to, Doctor, and what is your mandate at PanSouth?
The nexus of our operation is much about the inculcation of multilingualism within the country. Our mandate is extrapolated from the Constitution. The intention is to ensure that we monitor, we inculcate multilingualism in all sectors of our life, particularly in the government department. The idea is that we are coming from a background where the African languages, particularly the indigenous South African languages, have been given a raw deal. A raw deal is even kind of a better phrase to state.
Yeah, for what's been happening.
Yeah, it's basically very bad. So our intention is to kind of indicate to the society and encourage the society to be able to express who they are and what they do, and even the business that they are in their own mother languages. It is very important to do that, because you're not only talking about the language, you're talking about yourself. We want to even to redefine ourselves as African the way we want, and the only way we can do that is through our own mother tongue. It's much about linguistic human right. It's more even above linguistic right. It's towards the cognitive right, the knowledge right, because now they have been sidelined. The knowledge, let me just break English here, the knowledges that these languages are having is not exposed to the world. The world is deprived of a specific kind of knowledge that could have made it richer had we accommodated this. Not accommodated, because when you talk about accommodation, you're talking about doing somebody favor. But had these languages be foregrounded the way they are. And the point here, it's not the languages are being treated badly. It's much about what do we do to treat them badly.
You've posed a lot of things, Doctor, and I'm going to come to some of them a little bit later, but I just want to introduce Mr. Elijah Mhlanga, who's from the Department of Basic Education. Let's talk quickly from a department perspective, language policy at schools, very, very quickly.
No, as far as we're concerned, we treat all these languages, the South African languages, the official languages, as equal. All of them need to be given equal treatment. They need to be available in all our schools. Where learners need that language, that language should be available. But what we find is the issue of resources, because we find that there are some schools that are not offering any African languages whatsoever. And we have moved to do something about that, because out of our 25,000 schools, there's about 3,700 schools that do not offer any African language whatsoever. So what we've done is to force everyone now to offer that language. In 2014, we conducted a pilot to see how that would work if we were to force all of our schools to offer an African language. And we found that we do not have enough teachers who can teach in African languages.
There's something interesting that is mentioned, and Doctor, I'm going to come to you about the qualification around teaching language. But let's very, very quickly to introduce our other guest as well, Mr. Bila from let me just get that right, he's from our Limpopo studio in Polokwane. You have been an activist, you are even to the point that you have compiled a dictionary in Tsonga. Talk to me very, very quickly about what compelled you to create that dictionary, Mr. Bila. Mr. Bila, are you there?
Yeah, we made a dictionary in Xitsonga owing to the neglect of African languages, particularly the indigenous languages.
Yeah. We've
always been committed to promoting our African languages because we love ourselves. And I strongly believe that without self-love, we cannot affirm anything about ourselves. And the making up of a dictionary for us has always been instrumental in maintaining what we think belong to us, against the barbarism of colonialism, because if we don't act on our own oppression, no one will.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do this very quickly, Mr. Bila. All the gentlemen across, not only in Johannesburg, but in Limpopo and in Mahikeng. We're going to take a quick ad break. We just want trying to sort out some technical gremlins. When we come back, we're going to introduce our other guest, Keabetswe, who's in Mahikeng, and then we'll get into some of the interesting things that Dr. Monareng was talking about, not only linguistic rights, but also cognitive right. And I think that's kind of interesting phrasing to talk about language. We take an ad break. Don't go anywhere.